There is a silence waiting above our heads that is older than the very ground upon which we currently stand. You can feel it pressing down against the roof of your house when the noises of the day have finally faded. It is a heavy and velvet weight that wraps itself around the planet like a blanket made of pure and endless night. We look up into this vast obsidian ocean and we convince ourselves that we are seeing a canopy of friendly, glittering jewels. But the truth of the cosmos is far more profound and terrifying than a simple scattering of diamonds across a dark ceiling. We are looking into a distance so aggressive and so absolute that it threatens to unravel the human mind completely. It is a chasm of emptiness that defies every instinct for safety and connection that our biology has ever evolved to protect. We are travelers standing on the shore of an island, looking out at a sea that has no opposite shoreline. To understand where we are is to accept a feeling of isolation that sits deep within the marrow of our bones. We speak of space with casual words and confident numbers as if we can tame the void with our mathematics. We draw maps of the galaxy and place little dots upon them to mark the stars that burn in the cold. But a map is just a piece of paper that protects us from the paralyzing reality of the true territory. The reality is that we are floating in a void so expansive that the concept of movement becomes almost meaningless. Tonight, we are going to strip away the safety of the maps and drift out into the deep water. We are going to confront the distance that breaks our brains and find a strange comfort in our own insignificance. The journey begins not with a rocket engine or a warp drive, but with a single beam of pure light. Imagine a particle of light born in the violent and thrashing heart of a star somewhere in the deep dark. It fights its way to the surface of that burning sun and then launches itself into the freedom of the vacuum. This tiny packet of energy is the fastest thing that will ever exist in the history of our universe. It travels at a speed that we have measured with great precision to be exactly 300,000 kilometers per second. It is a number that sounds impressive when we say it out loud, but it is difficult to truly feel. To understand this speed, you must imagine a beam of light circling our little blue planet at the equator. In the time it takes for your heart to beat just once, that light could circle the Earth 7 times. It is a velocity that renders the entire geography of our world into something small and easily conquered by the photon. But here lies the great cosmic joke that the universe plays upon us when we dare to leave our home. This speed, which is godlike on Earth, becomes agonizingly slow when placed against the backdrop of the true black. When we step outside the safety of our atmosphere, the speed of light transforms from a sprint into a crawl. We are imprisoned by this cosmic speed limit, which dictates how long we must wait to see the face of the universe. It forces us to realize that looking out into the night sky is actually an act of looking back into time. The ghost of a star that you see twinkling in the west is not the star as it exists tonight. You are seeing a postcard from the past that has traveled across a desert of time to reach your retina. The light year is the ruler we use to measure this prison of distance. And it is a deceptive term. It sounds like a measure of time because we use the word year, but it is strictly a measure of distance. It represents the specific ground covered by that beam of light traveling at its maximum speed for 1 full Earth year. If you could unravel that distance into a straight line, it would stretch for 9.46 trillion kilometers. That is a number so large that it slides off the surface of the human brain without leaving a scratch. You can say the words 9 trillion, but you cannot picture 9 trillion of anything in your mind's eye. It is a quantity of empty space that makes the distance between New York and London feel less than microscopic. Try to visualize a box of space that is 1 light year across and 1 light year deep and wide. It is a cube of emptiness so profound that you could fit our entire solar system inside it millions of times. This is the fundamental building block of the galaxy, and yet it is almost entirely comprised of nothing at all. To cross this single unit of cosmic distance is to commit yourself to a journey of absolute and crushing solitude. There are no gas stations or resting points in the void between the stars where a traveler might find shelter. There is only the vacuum and the silence and the dust of forgotten worlds drifting in the spaces between. We use the light year because the mile and the kilometer are tools made for ants crawling on a pebble. When we speak of the cosmos, we need a ruler that is made of light and time and ghosts. Let us now conduct a thought experiment to truly feel the weight of this distance pressing against our chest. Imagine that we can detach our consciousness from our bodies and float upwards into the silent upper atmosphere of Earth. We hover there for a moment, looking down at the blue marble that contains everyone we have ever loved or known. Now we turn our backs on the Earth and we face the dark curtain of the rest of the universe. We decide to travel at the speed of light, which is the absolute maximum velocity allowed by the laws of physics. We push off from the orbit of the moon and we begin our journey into the great crushing dark. The first thing you notice is how quickly the Earth recedes into a small bright dot behind you in the black. In just 1.3 seconds, you have already crossed the gap between the Earth and the moon. It felt instantaneous, but even at light speed, there was a tiny pause, a breath of hesitation between the worlds. Now you are flying past the red dust of Mars and the asteroid belt where rocks tumble in the dark. The sun is behind you now, and its light takes 8 full minutes to catch up to where you are. If the sun were to suddenly extinguish itself, you would not know it for 8 long and peaceful minutes. You are surfing on the wavefront of the present moment, while the past struggles to keep up with your incredible pace. But as you pass the giant majestic ringed planet of Saturn, you begin to feel the first twinges of cosmic dread. You have been traveling at the fastest speed possible for over an hour, and you are still in your backyard. The solar system, which looks so compact in textbook diagrams, is actually a sprawling expanse of empty, wasted space. You pass the frozen blue giant of Neptune, and you are now hours away from the warmth of the home fires. The sun has shrunk to a particularly bright star in the distance, and its heat can no longer reach you. You are entering the Kuiper Belt, where frozen remnants of the early solar system drift in a silent, frozen sleep. This is the moment where the true scale of the light year begins to reveal its terrifying and beautiful nature. You have been traveling at 300,000 kilometers every single second, and you have not even covered one light day. A light year is made of 365 of these days, and you have not finished the first. You are still effectively sitting on the doorstep of the solar system, looking out at the road that leads away. The nearest star to us is Proxima Centauri, and it is sitting 4.24 light years away. To reach it, you must continue this journey for 4 years and 3 months without ever stopping for a breath. Think of the silence that will accompany you during those 4 years of travel through the nothingness of the void. There is no wind to whistle in your ears, and there is no vibration to hum against your skin. There is only the static visual of the stars, which do not appear to move or shift as you fly. At this speed, you might expect the stars to streak past you like streetlights on a highway at night. But the distances are so vast that the stars appear frozen in their positions, mocking your incredible speed with their stillness. You are moving so fast that time itself begins to dilate and warp around your consciousness like a heavy fluid. Yet to the outside observer, you are a frozen statue drifting across a chasm that refuses to end. We often confuse the light year with other measures, like the astronomical unit, which is the distance from Earth to Sun. But an astronomical unit is a grain of sand compared to the miles of beach that make up a light year. Astronomers might also use the parsec, which is about 3¼ light years bundled together. But the light year remains the most poetic and haunting measure because it fuses distance with the passage of time. It reminds us that to look far away is to look deep into the archives of ancient history. When you look at the center of our galaxy, you are seeing light that left its source when humans were hunting mammoths. The distance is a time machine that only allows you to view the past and never the present. As we drift further into the dark, we must confront the reality that our brains are not built for this. We evolved to understand the distance of a spear throw or the walk to the nearest river for water. We did not evolve to comprehend a cavern of silence that takes a beam of light 100,000 years to cross. That is the diameter of our own Milky Way galaxy, a swirling disk of stars that is our island in the dark. To cross it at light speed would take longer than the entire history of human civilization written 10 times over. And that is just our own neighborhood, our own small collection of stars huddled together for warmth against the cold. Beyond the rim of our galaxy lies the true void, the intergalactic medium, where the darkness is absolute and unending. The nearest major galaxy to us is Andromeda, which sits 2.5 million light years away from our position. Imagine traveling at the speed of light for 2.5 million years, with nothing but emptiness around you. Civilizations would rise and fall and turn to dust on Earth, while you were not even halfway there. The light from Andromeda that hits your eyes tonight left that galaxy before the first humans walked upright on the plains. It is a ghost image, a fossil of light that has survived a journey through the most inhospitable nothingness imaginable. This is why the distance breaks our brains, because it renders our lives into flashes of lightning in a long night. It forces us to accept that we are fleeting moments of consciousness in a universe that operates on geological timescales. But there is a strange and hypnotic comfort to be found in this surrender to the massive scale of things. When you accept that you cannot conquer the distance, you are free to simply float within it. You are free to let the vastness wash over you like a tide of cool water that cleanses the spirit. The anxieties of the day and the worries of the self dissolve when placed against the backdrop of 1 trillion kilometers. Let us return to our thought experiment, where we are drifting at the edge of our solar system, facing the dark. We have passed the orbit of Pluto, and we are entering the scattered disk of icy bodies. The sun is now just the brightest star in the sky, and it offers no warmth to our skin. We are entering the Oort cloud, a massive shell of icy debris that surrounds our solar system like a cocoon. This cloud stretches out for nearly a light year, marking the true boundary of the sun's gravitational influence. To cross this cloud alone will take us a year of travel at the speed of light. We are still essentially in the nursery of our own star, and we have not yet entered the deep ocean. The emptiness here is not empty in the way an empty room is empty, but rather it is crowded with hunger. It is a vacuum that pulls at the atoms of your body, wanting to disperse them into the void. It is a cold that is only a few degrees above absolute zero, stopping all molecular motion in its tracks. And yet, the light from the distant stars pushes through this cold with a relentless and stubborn momentum. The light does not care about the cold or the distance or the emptiness that it must traverse. It carries the information of its birth across the universe, waiting for an eye to catch it and give it meaning. We are surrounded by these messengers of light that are crisscrossing the universe in every conceivable direction. At any given point in deep space, there are photons passing through from billions of different stars and galaxies. The darkness is actually filled with a chaotic web of light that is simply too faint for our eyes to register. If our eyes were sensitive enough, the night sky would not be dark, but a blinding sheet of white fire. Every point in the sky contains a star or a galaxy, even if it is billions of light years away. We are bathed in the ancient light of the cosmos, but our biology limits us to seeing only the loudest shouters. The concept of the observable universe stretches this brain-breaking distance to its absolute and terrifying limit. We can see out to a distance of about 93 billion light years in diameter. This is the bubble of reality that is accessible to us, the limit of what we can ever know or touch. Beyond this bubble, there may be infinite other bubbles, or simply more of the same endless stars. But the light from those distant regions has not had enough time since the beginning of the universe to reach us. We are trapped in a bubble of light surrounded by an ocean of darkness that we can never explore. But let us pull our focus back from the edge of the universe to the space immediately in front of us. We are drifting past the last icy rock of the Oort cloud and finally entering interstellar space. This is the water between the islands, the true void where the sun's influence finally fades to nothing. The medium here is thin, only a few atoms of hydrogen for every cubic centimeter of space. It is a purity of emptiness that we cannot replicate even in our best laboratories on Earth. It is here in the deep silence that the concept of the light year becomes a feeling rather than a number. You can feel the distance as a physical sensation, a stretching of the soul across the gap between the stars. It is a feeling of being untethered, of having no ground beneath your feet and no sky above your head. There is no up or down in this place, only the endless outward direction of the expansion. You are a point of consciousness, suspended in a solution of starlight and time and gravity. The silence is not merely the absence of sound, but a heavy presence that watches you as you drift. It is the silence of a library that has been closed for 1,000,000 years, where the books are writing themselves. As we look ahead, the star Proxima Centauri glows with a dull red light calling to us across the gap. It looks so close, as if you could reach out and pluck it from the velvet background. But your mind now knows the truth of the lie that your eyes are telling you in the dark. You know that the gap between you and that red star is a chasm of 4 light years. You know that to cross it, you must surrender yourself to the patience of the stone and the ice. You must become a creature of the long haul, willing to drift for eons to touch the light. The light year teaches us patience in a world that is obsessed with the instant and the immediate. It teaches us that some things cannot be rushed, that the universe unfolds at its own luxurious pace. The light that hits your eye from Proxima left that star 4 years ago, when your life was different. It has spent 4 years traveling in the cold just to deliver a tiny packet of red energy to your retina. There is a romance in this delay, a connection between the past and the present that bridges the void. We are never truly alone, because we are always receiving these letters from the past written in light. The vastness is not meant to scare us, but to cradle us in a blanket of possibility. If the universe were small, we would feel trapped in a tiny room with walls we could touch. But the universe is vast enough to hold all of our dreams and all of our nightmares without overflowing. It is a container that can never be filled, a canvas that can never be fully painted. The light years are the brushstrokes of this painting, stretching out in lines of fire and ice. We continue to drift now, moving deeper into the dark, leaving the sun far behind us. The constellations begin to shift ever so slightly as our perspective changes in the deep void. The familiar shapes of the hunter and the bear begin to warp as we see them from a new angle. We are becoming creatures of the deep space, shedding our terrestrial biases and our need for ground. We are learning to speak the language of the light year, which is a language of silence and endurance. The darkness is no longer a threat, but a companion that walks beside us on the road. And as we settle into this long journey, we begin to understand that the destination is not the point. The point is the feeling of the slide, the frictionless glide through the cathedral of the cosmos. The point is to feel the scale of the theater in which our tiny drama is being performed. We are small, yes, but we are the part of the universe that has opened its eyes to see itself. We are the way the cosmos knows its own size and feels its own terrifying width. The light year is a mirror that shows us our own fragility and our own resilience in the face of the dark. It asks us to be brave enough to look into the abyss and not blink as it stares back. It asks us to hold the number 9 trillion in our minds and find a way to make peace with it. And as we drift, the distance between the stars seems to hum with a low and secret vibration. It is the sound of the universe breathing the slow and rhythmic expansion of the dark energy. We are now far enough away that the sun is just one of thousands of stars in the dense field behind us. If we did not know exactly where to look, we would lose our home in the glittering crowd. This is the anonymity of the galaxy, the way it swallows individual worlds into its massive structure. We are hidden in the open plane of the spiral arm, protected by the sheer magnitude of the haystack. There is a safety in being this small, a freedom in being lost in a forest this large. The speed of light, which seemed so restrictive, now feels like a steady heartbeat keeping time. It is the metronome of the universe, ticking away the seconds and the years and the eons. One tick for a second, one tock for a year, and the light moves forward without pause. It does not tire, it does not sleep, it does not question the path it must take. It simply is a constant in a universe of variables, a fixed point in a swirling chaos, and we drift with it, carried by the imagination into the deep water where the monsters and the miracles live. We are ready to see what lies beyond the first marker, to go deeper than the first light year. We are ready to let the brain break and then heal again in the shape of the cosmos. The familiar shores are gone, and we are finally truly at sea in the night. The stars are waiting for us to come closer to bridge the gap that keeps them apart. Something ancient stirs in the space between the sun and the next star, calling us forward. The darkness that sits between the stars is not merely an absence of light, but a physical weight that rests upon the spirit. We are drifting now beyond the comfortable warmth of our home star and venturing into the quiet catalogue of the true deep. To understand the scale of the universe, we must first understand the patience required to traverse even a single fraction of it. We often speak of the light year as if it were a short hop across a familiar pond to a neighbor's house. But we must slow down the film of our imagination and walk this distance one agonizing step at a time. We must feel the passing of the seconds and the minutes and the hours before we can ever grasp the year. Consider the humble light second, which is the very first baby step on this impossible journey into the forever. In the time it takes for you to blink your eyes, a beam of light has already danced past the moon. It has traveled 300,000 kilometers in a heartbeat, leaving the chaotic atmosphere of our blue world far behind. This distance is the only measure in the universe that feels somewhat compatible with the speed of human thought. We can look at the moon and understand that the light we see is only 1 second old. It is a ghost of the immediate past, hovering there in the sky, like a silver coin dropped in a well. But as we stretch our legs and push deeper into the black, the comfortable scale of the second quickly begins to fail us. We move outward to the scale of light minutes, where the distances become vast enough to swallow entire civilizations whole. The sun itself sits 8 light minutes away from the Earth, a distance that feels dangerously remote when you truly consider it. We are tethered to a burning ball of gas that is so far away its warmth is merely a memory. If the sun were to vanish, we would continue to orbit a ghost for 8 long minutes before the dark arrived. We exist in a bubble of delayed reality, forever waiting for the news of the universe to reach our shores. As we drift past the orbit of Mars, we are entering the territory where the light takes more than 12 minutes to travel. The red planet is a lonely sentinel sitting in the silence of a desert that has not seen rain for eons. To send a signal to a rover on its surface, we must wait for the radio waves to crawl across the gap. We send a command, and then we wait in the silence, wondering if the machine has heard our voice. The delay is a reminder that in space there is no such thing as an instant conversation. Every word we speak to the cosmos is a message in a bottle thrown into a vast and uncaring ocean. We push further out into the dark, crossing the asteroid belt, where the debris of creation tumbles in an eternal slumber. We are now entering the realm of the light hour, a distance that begins to strain the limits of our patience. It takes light, more than 40 minutes, to reach the giant swirling storms of Jupiter from the surface of the sun. Imagine a beam of light leaving the sun and traveling for 40 minutes through absolute nothingness before it hits anything. It flies past the vacuum and the dust and the silence with a relentless and terrifying determination. And when it finally arrives at Jupiter, it is weak and cold and stripped of its terrible power. The journey to Saturn takes over an hour of travel at the absolute limit of speed allowed by the universe. We are now so far from home that the Earth is nothing more than a bright speck lost in the glare. The rings of Saturn float in the darkness like a crown of ice that has been shattered by a giant hand. The light that reflects off those rings has traveled for 1 billion kilometers just to bring us a picture of their beauty. We are looking at a system that is operating on a delay of hours, isolated in its own cold pocket. Something ancient stirs in the gap between Saturn and the icy giants that guard the outer rim of our system. The silence here is thicker and heavier than it was in the inner solar system, where the planets crowd the fire. We pass Uranus and Neptune, and we are now looking at a light travel time of nearly 4 hours. The Sun is just a particularly bright star in the sky, offering no heat to warm the frozen gas. These planets are lonely wanderers, circling the campfire at the very edge of the light, where the shadows are long. They exist in a perpetual twilight, where the day is indistinguishable from the night and the cold is absolute. But even these vast distances are merely the foyer of the house we are attempting to explore tonight. We must now leave the planets behind and enter the true void that lies beyond the orbit of Neptune. We are entering the domain of the light day, a scale that makes the solar system look like a toy. A light day is the distance that a beam of light can travel in 24 hours of non-stop motion. It is a distance of roughly 26 billion kilometers, a number that defies all attempts at human visualization. To cross a single light day is to journey into a solitude that is difficult to describe with human language. There are no planets here, only the occasional dwarf star or icy rock drifting in the unimaginable cold. The Voyager spacecraft, which are the fastest objects humans have ever built, have not yet traveled 1 light day. They have been flying for nearly 50 years, and yet they have not covered the distance light travels in 1 day. We are trapped in a slow-motion crawl while the light speeds past us, laughing at our sluggish engines. Now we must steel ourselves for the true horror and the true beauty of the light year itself. A light year is not just a measure of distance. It is a measure of an abyss that separates the islands of light. It is composed of 365 of those light days we just described, stacked end to end. It is a journey of 9.46 trillion kilometers through a vacuum that is hostile to life. It is a canyon of night so wide that you could scream forever and the sound would never reach the other side. Imagine we are riding on that beam of light, leaving the sun and heading out toward the nearest neighbor. We flash past the Earth in minutes and past the outer planets in hours, and then the emptiness begins. We travel for days, and then weeks, and then months, with absolutely nothing to break the monotony of the black. There are no landmarks in the deep void, no mile markers to tell us how far we have come. There is only the sensation of movement without progress, a feeling of falling down a bottomless well. We travel for 3 months, and we have still only covered a quarter of a single light year. The sun is now just one star among millions, and we have lost all sense of direction. The constellations are beginning to warp as we move deeper into the three-dimensional structure of the galaxy. We are seeing the universe from a new angle, a perspective that no human eyes have ever witnessed. We are drifting through the Oort cloud, where billions of icy comets sleep in the freezing dark. These are the leftovers of the solar system, the debris that was kicked out into the cold eons ago. 6 months pass in our journey, and we are still in the middle of nowhere surrounded by the hush. We are floating in the interstellar medium, the thin soup of gas and dust that fills the galaxy. It is not empty space, but a tenuous fog of atoms that stretches out for trillions of miles. Occasionally, a single atom of hydrogen bumps against another in the dark, and the silence remains unbroken. This is the texture of the universe, a vast and lonely ocean with very few islands of solid ground. 9 months of travel at the speed of light, and we are still not at the first marker. We have traveled 7 trillion kilometers, and yet we are closer to our home than we are to anything else. The nearest star, Proxima Centauri, is still more than 3 years of travel away from our current position. We are alone in a way that we have never been alone before, suspended in the amber of the void. The psychological weight of this distance begins to press on the mind, creating a feeling of profound insignificance. But there is a strange peace to be found in this realization of our own smallness in the dark. If we are nothing but specks of dust floating in a sunbeam, then our problems are also specks. The anxieties that keep us awake at night dissolve when placed against the scale of a light year. The universe does not care about our deadlines or our mistakes or our petty little arguments. It simply exists in its vast and majestic silence, waiting for us to notice its terrible beauty. We finally approach the end of our first full year of travel, and the distance counter ticks over. We have crossed 9.46 trillion kilometers of space, and we have arrived at nothing. There is no signpost here to mark the boundary of the light year, no line drawn in the vacuum. The light year is an arbitrary human invention, a ruler we hold up against the infinite to make ourselves feel better. The universe does not recognize our measurements, it only recognizes the endless unfolding of space-time. Yet this distance we have just crossed is the fundamental building block of the galactic map. When we look at a picture of a galaxy, we are seeing billions of these light years stitched together. The spiral arms of the Milky Way are composed of these vast and lonely stretches of silence. Every point of light in the night sky is separated from its neighbor by years of travel. The galaxy is mostly empty space, a collection of lonely stars separated by oceans of time. Let us pause here in the deep dark 1 light year from home and look back. The sun is now just a bright star indistinguishable from the others without a telescope to guide us. Earth is invisible, lost in the glare of a star that no longer offers us any warmth. We are truly orphans of the cosmos, now adrift in the space between the notes of the song. The silence is absolute, and it wraps around us like a heavy blanket of velvet. It is crowded with hunger, this void, as the gravity of distant stars pulls gently at our bodies. We can feel the subtle tug of the galaxy itself, the slow rotation of the great wheel. We are moving with the river of stars flowing around the supermassive black hole at the center. We are part of a grand procession that takes 200 million years to complete a single orbit. The light year is just a single step in this cosmic dance, a single beat in the rhythm. As we float here, we realize that looking at the universe is like looking into a hall of mirrors. The light we see is bouncing off the dust and the gas creating illusions in the dark. We see nebulae that look like solid clouds, but are actually thinner than the finest mist on Earth. We see galaxies that look like spinning pinwheels, but are actually frozen in a slow and majestic collision. The light year distorts our perception, forcing us to see the universe not as it is, but as it was. We are looking at a slideshow of the past, projected onto the screen of the present. The light year is the mechanism of this delay, the reason we can never know the universe in real time. We are always waiting for the news to arrive, always living in the echo of the event. It creates a feeling of longing, a desire to close the gap and touch the reality. But the laws of physics are strict, and the speed limit is absolute, and the gap remains. Imagine now that we could turn up the speed and travel faster than the light itself. Imagine we could break the laws of physics and cross the light year in an instant. We would see the universe fast forward, the stars streaking past us like rain on a windshield. We would see civilizations rise and fall in the blink of an eye as we raced through time. But we are bound by the speed limit, trapped in the slow lane of the cosmos. So we must learn to appreciate the slowness, the luxurious unfolding of the journey through the dark. We must learn to love the silence and the space and the distance that separates us, for it is the distance that makes the light so precious when it finally arrives at our eyes. If the stars were close, their light would be blinding and their heat would scorch the earth. The distance is a shield that protects us from the violence of the nuclear fires burning in the night. We drift deeper now, moving past the 1 light-year mark and heading into the deeper ocean. The sensation of speed has vanished completely, and we feel as though we are hanging motionless in the void. There is no wind to rush past us, no road noise to indicate that we are moving. There is only the slow shift of the parallax as the nearer stars move against the background. It is a hypnotic dance, a celestial ballet that has been performed for billions of years. The mind begins to drift, lulled by the rhythm of the journey and the lack of sensation. We are entering a state of cosmic sleep, where the body is heavy and the mind is free. We are becoming part of the vacuum, shedding the weight of our terrestrial existence. We are no longer humans from Earth. We are travelers of the light-year citizens of the galaxy. We belong to the silence now, and the silence belongs to us in this secret place. We look ahead into the abyss, and we see faint smudges of light that are entire galaxies. They are millions of light years away, islands of stars that we will never visit. They are taunting us with their beauty, calling to us across the impossible distances. We can only watch them from afar and dream of what strange worlds orbit their suns. We can only wonder if there are other travelers looking back at us across the divide. The concept of the light year creates a paradox of connection and separation in our minds. It connects us to the rest of the universe through the constant stream of photons, but it separates us through the sheer immensity of the time it takes to make the connection. We are connected by a thread that is 9 trillion kilometers long and incredibly fragile. It is a thread made of light and hope, and the stubborn refusal of the universe to be dark. We are surfing on this thread, riding the waves of gravity and time into the unknown. The comfort of the solar system is gone, and we are facing the raw, unadulterated universe. It is a place of extremes, where the cold is colder and the dark is darker. But it is also a place of peace, where the noise of life is silenced by the scale. There is no room for petty conflict in a box that is 1 light year wide. We breathe in the emptiness, and we breathe out the fear, letting it drift away. We are safe here in the void, protected by the vastness that surrounds us. Nothing can touch us here. Nothing can find us in this endless field of night. We are hidden in the folds of the galaxy tucked away in a quiet corner of space. The light year wraps us in its long arms and holds us close to its cold chest. As we continue to drift, the realization settles in that we are made of the same stuff as the stars. The atoms in our bodies were forged in the hearts of dying suns billions of years ago. We are stardust that has learned to think stardust, that has learned to measure the distance. We are the universe looking at itself, trying to understand the distance between its parts. The light year is not just a measure of space. It is a measure of our own history. We pass through clouds of dark matter, invisible ghosts that hold the galaxy together with their gravity. We cannot see them or touch them, but we know they are there by the way the light bends. The universe is full of these mysteries, things we can feel but cannot see. It is a haunted house where the ghosts are made of gravity and the floorboards are made of time. We walk through the halls with our eyes wide open, trying to catch a glimpse of the truth. The journey of a light year is a journey into the heart of these mysteries. It is a pilgrimage to the cathedral of the cosmos, where the laws of physics are the scripture. We are the monks of this order, dedicated to the contemplation of the void. We chant the numbers 9.46 trillion like a prayer in the dark. We seek enlightenment in the emptiness, and we find comfort in the cold. And now, as we drift past the invisible boundary of that first year, we feel a shift. The sun is gone from our sky, replaced by the alien constellations of the deep. We have crossed the threshold, and there is no turning back to the shore. We are committed to the deep water, now committed to the drift and the silence. The universe opens up before us, revealing layer upon layer of infinite depth. We are floating toward a region of space where the stars are old and red. They are the elders of the galaxy, watching the young blue stars burn themselves out. They have seen the universe change and grow, and they have kept their counsel. We approach them with respect, slowing our breathing to match the rhythm of their light. We are guests in their house, and we must tread lightly on the carpet of the void. The distance between us and them is still vast, measured in light years and centuries. But we can feel their presence, a warmth that transcends the cold of the vacuum. They are waiting for us to understand the lesson of the distance. They are teaching us that we are small, but we are also infinite in our capacity to dream. We can hold the entire universe in our minds, even if we can never touch it. The light that reaches us now is ancient, carrying memories of a time before we existed. We bathe in this old light, letting it wash over us and cleanse our spirits. It is a baptism of photons, a renewal of our connection to the cosmos. We are born again in the dark children of the light year and the void. We drift on, carried by the silent current of the galaxy. And just ahead in the velvet darkness, something begins to take shape. It is a cloud of gas and dust glowing with a faint and ghostly light. It is a nursery where new stars are being born in the silence. It waits for us. The glowing clouds of the stellar nursery fade behind us as we turn our faces toward the deeper silence of the open void. We are leaving the cradle of the nebula, where the infant stars cry out in bursts of radiation and heat against the cold. The journey now demands a quiet resolve as we aim for the faint red ember that marks our nearest celestial neighbor in the night. It is the star known as Proxima Centauri, and it sits alone in the darkness, waiting for a traveler to finally bridge the gap. The distance to this red dwarf is 4.24 light years. a chasm that defies every instinct of the human heart. To cross this gap is to commit oneself to a voyage that would consume the entire history of a civilization on our world. We drift through the interstellar medium, where the atoms are so sparse that they are lonely travelers in their own private deserts. The silence here is not merely the absence of sound, but a heavy and physical presence that presses against the walls of the mind. It is a silence that has waited for billions of years for something to disturb it, and yet nothing ever comes to break the spell. We are the first consciousness to thread this needle, to weave a line of thought through the fabric of the empty space. The red star ahead grows brighter with agonizing slowness, offering a target that seems to retreat as we move forward in the dark. It is a small and cool star, burning its fuel with a miserly patience that will allow it to outlive the sun itself. As we finally approach the system after 4 years of light-speed travel, we realize how empty the neighborhood truly is. Proxima is a lonely sentinel guarding the flank of the Centauri system, separated from its brighter siblings by a vast distance. There are planets here huddled close to the dim warmth of the red sun, trying to survive in the eternal twilight. We look down at these rocky worlds and wonder if anything looks back at us from the shadows of the alien mountains. It is a solemn feeling to be this far from home and yet still be only on the doorstep of the galaxy. We have traveled for 4 years at the speed of light, and we have only just visited our next-door neighbor. The realization settles in that the universe is not a crowded room, but a collection of isolated islands separated by immense oceans. If we were to shrink the sun down to the size of a grapefruit, the nearest star would be in another continent. The space between is wasted and empty, filled only with the occasional drift of dust and the endless wash of radiation. We push off from the gravity of Proxima and turn our eyes toward the brighter beacon of Sirius, burning white in the distance. It is 8 light years away, a journey that doubles the exile we have already endured in the silence of the void. To reach it, we must surrender another 4 years of our existence to the nothingness that sits between the stars. The galaxy begins to reveal its true nature as a structure composed almost entirely of the gaps between the points of light. We tend to think of the Milky Way as a solid disk of light because that is how it appears in photographs. But in reality, it is a ghost town where the houses are separated by miles of dark and frozen wilderness. We drift past Sirius and continue outward, passing stars that have no names in our charts, only catalog numbers in a database. Each one is a sun with its own family of worlds and its own unique history, written in the language of nuclear fire. But they are islands of warmth in a sea of absolute zero that threatens to extinguish everything it touches with its cold. We are moving now through the local bubble, a region of space that was cleared out by ancient supernovae millions of years ago. The gas here is thin and hot, a remnant of violent explosions that shaped the architecture of our local stellar neighborhood. We are like microscopic dust motes floating in a vast cavern that has been hollowed out by the breath of dying giants. The scale is expanding with every light year we cross, forcing our minds to stretch until they are thin and transparent. We are no longer thinking in terms of kilometers or miles, but in terms of centuries and millennia of travel time. The light year becomes the only ruler that makes sense in a place where the distances are measured in lifetimes. We pass the bright blue giant of Vega which hangs in the sky like a sapphire set against black velvet. It is 25 light years from our home, a distance that means the light hitting our eyes is a quarter of a century old. We are seeing Vega not as it is now, but as it was when we were younger and perhaps more innocent. This is the time machine effect of the cosmos, where looking deeper into space is synonymous with looking deeper into the past. We are archaeologists of the sky, digging through the layers of time to uncover the history of the universe one photon at a time. The deeper we go, the more the present moment dissolves into a memory that has not yet arrived. As we continue to drift, the familiar constellations of Earth are completely dismantled and rearranged into new and alien shapes. The Big Dipper is gone, its stars scattered across the sky, as our perspective shifts in the three-dimensional volume. We are lost in the truest sense of the word, with no landmarks to guide us back to the small blue rock we call home. But there is a liberation in this feeling of being lost, a freedom from the need to know exactly where we are. We are simply here in the vastness, existing as a point of awareness in a universe that is largely unaware of itself. The anxiety of navigation fades away, replaced by a calm acceptance of the drift and the flow of the dark. We have now traveled hundreds of light years, and yet we have barely scratched the surface of our own galaxy. The Milky Way stretches out for 100,000 light years, a disk of stars so vast it defies comprehension. To cross it from end to end would take 100,000 years of continuous travel at the speed of light. Entire species would evolve and go extinct on Earth while a traveler made that single journey across the galactic disk. We are trapped in a structure that is too large to explore and too massive to leave without immense effort. We are prisoners of gravity and distance, held fast by the invisible chains that bind the stars together. But let us imagine that we can leave the disk, that we can rise up above the plane of the galaxy. We drift upwards, leaving the dense fields of stars behind and entering the halo that surrounds the Milky Way. The view from here is breathtaking, a spiraling pinwheel of light suspended in the endless dark of the intergalactic void. We can see the arms of the galaxy wrapped around the bright core where the great black hole sleeps. It is a city of stars containing hundreds of billions of suns each, with their own story and their own silence. From this distance, the spaces between the stars disappear and they blend into a single glowing organism of light. Now we turn our backs on our home galaxy and face the terrifying emptiness of the space between the galaxies. This is the deep water, the ocean, that separates the continents of the universe from one another. The distances here are no longer measured in years or centuries, but in millions of years of light travel. We are looking at the great abyss where the galaxies float like lonely jellyfish in a dark and infinite sea. The nearest major island to us is the Andromeda Galaxy, and it is calling to us across the gap. It is a sister spiral to our own Milky Way, a twin city of lights glowing faintly in the deep distance. The journey to Andromeda is a journey of 2.5 million light years through the most absolute nothingness imaginable. It is a number that creates a physical sensation of vertigo when you try to hold it in your mind. 2.5 million years is a span of time that predates the existence of human beings on Earth. The light that we see from Andromeda tonight left its stars when our ancestors were just beginning to use stone tools. It has been traveling through the void for all of human history, just to reach our eyes this very night. It is a ghost image, a fossil of light that has survived the long and lonely crossing of the dark. We launch ourselves into this intergalactic void, leaving the comfort of the Milky Way's gravity far behind us. The stars of our home galaxy recede until they are just a smear of light in the darkness behind us. We are now truly alone, suspended in the nothingness that sits between the great islands of the universe. The density of atoms here is effectively zero, a vacuum, so perfect that it preserves the silence for eternity. There is nothing to scatter the light, nothing to absorb the sound, nothing to mark the passage of time. We are drifting in a timeless state where the only reality is the distant glow of the target ahead. As we travel, the millions of years begin to blur together into a single long moment of suspended animation. We watch as Andromeda slowly grows larger in the sky, its spiral arms unfurling like the petals of a flower. We can see the dust lanes that cut through the starlight dark rivers of shadow in the glowing disk. It is a galaxy that is rushing toward us, destined to collide with our own Milky Way in the distant future. But for now, it is just a beautiful and silent neighbor waiting for us to cross the bridge. The collision is billions of years away, a slow motion dance that will eventually merge the two giants. The scale of Andromeda is even larger than our own, containing perhaps 1 trillion stars within its massive embrace. Imagine 1 trillion suns each, with its own planets and moons all swirling around a common center of gravity. The mind reels at the thought of so many worlds, so many possibilities hidden in the light of the spiral. And yet, from here, it is just a patch of fuzzy light that you could cover with your thumb. The distance reduces the majestic to the miniature, stripping away the grandeur until only the silence remains. We are humbled by the perspective, forced to admit that our significance is microscopic in the grand scheme. We are now halfway between the two galaxies, suspended in the absolute middle of the intergalactic void. Looking back, we see the Milky Way as a small spiral of light, lost in the consuming darkness. Looking forward, we see Andromeda as a mirror image, a twin spiral glowing with the same cold indifference. We are at the loneliest point in the universe, a place where the gravity of home creates no pull. It is a place of perfect equilibrium, where the forces of the cosmos cancel each other out, leaving only stillness. We rest here for a moment, letting the silence wash over us like a cool and cleansing tide. There is a strange comfort in knowing that the universe is mostly empty, that the noise is the exception. It means that peace is the default state of existence, that the chaos of life is just a temporary fluctuation. The void is not a hostile force, but a resting place, a canvas upon which the stars are painted. It is the silence that allows the music of the spheres to be heard, the dark that gives the light meaning. Without the distance, the stars would blur together into a blinding wall of white fire. The separation is what allows beauty to exist, what allows us to distinguish one thing from another. We resume our drift, pulled slowly by the gravity of Andromeda as we cross the second half of the journey. The galaxy begins to dominate the sky, filling our vision with its complex and beautiful structure. We can see the star clusters that orbit the core globular balls of ancient light that have survived for eons. We can see the pink clouds of hydrogen where new stars are being born, just as they are in our own galaxy. It is a familiar scene played out on a strange stage, a repetition of the cosmic cycle. The physics are the same, the chemistry is the same, only the location has changed in the dark. As we finally enter the outskirts of Andromeda, we are greeted by the sentinels of its outer halo. These are lonely stars that wander the edge of the galaxy, far from the warmth of the crowded disk. They are the first to welcome us after our 2 million-year journey through the cold and the dark. We pass them in silence, acknowledging their vigil as we move toward the brighter and denser regions. We are travelers from another island, bringing nothing but our curiosity and our awe to this new world. We are ghosts, passing through the walls of the galaxy, leaving no footprint and making no sound. The light we see from the core of Andromeda is blindingly bright, a concentration of millions of stars in a small space. It hides a monster in its center, a black hole that is hungry and patient and incredibly massive. But we do not fear it, for we are safe in the drift, protected by the vast distances. We are merely observers watching the great machinery of the universe turn with a slow and heavy grace. We are witnessing the clockwork of the heavens, the intricate dance of gravity and light and time. It is a performance that has no audience but us and the silence that surrounds us. We have traveled 2.5 million light years, and yet we have not moved in the grand scale. We are still in the local group, a small cluster of galaxies that are bound together by gravity. Beyond this group lies the true expansion, the places where the universe is stretching itself apart. We look out from the edge of Andromeda and we see other galaxies glowing faintly in the deep distance. They are mere smudges of light pixels on the screen of the universe that hint at other worlds. There are billions of them scattered across the sky like sand grains thrown onto a black velvet cloth. Each smudge is another island, another collection of billions of stars, another potential home for life. The observable universe contains 2 trillion of these galaxies, each one separated by millions of light years. The numbers have lost their meaning. They have become sounds that we make to comfort ourselves in the dark. We cannot comprehend 2 trillion galaxies. We can only feel the weight of the thought. It is a heavy blanket that settles over us, pressing us down into the mattress of the void. It is a lullaby of numbers, a mathematical chant that leads the mind into a trance. We realize that looking at these distant galaxies is looking at the ghosts of the deep past. The light from some of them has been traveling for billions of years to reach this point in space. We are looking at the universe as it was when it was young, when the stars were first turning on. We are looking at the childhood of the cosmos, preserved in the amber of the light travel time. The farther we look, the further back we go, descending a staircase into the basement of time. We are time travelers, standing still, while the history of the universe flows past our eyes. The concept of now begins to dissolve, losing its grip on our perception of reality. There is no universal now in a universe where light takes time to travel between the points. What is happening now in Andromeda will not be seen by us for another 2 million years. We are always disconnected from the present moment of the distant universe, always living in the past. We are isolated in our own bubble of time, unable to touch the reality of the stars. This isolation is absolute, and yet it is also a form of protection against the chaos. We drift away from Andromeda, now turning our gaze toward the deeper fields of the cosmos. The galaxies here are smaller and redder, their light stretched by the expansion of the universe itself. We are looking at the redshift, the signature of a universe that is growing larger every second. The space between the galaxies is expanding, pushing them apart, carrying them away into the dark. It is a slow and relentless movement, a tide that never turns and never retreats. The universe is breathing out a long and slow exhalation that will last for eternity. We feel the expansion as a gentle stretching of the space around us, a loosening of the fabric. The distances are growing, the gaps are widening. The silence is deepening with every passing moment. We are drifting in a universe that is becoming more empty, more lonely, more cold. But there is a beauty in the fading, a grace in the way the lights are slowly dimming. It is a long and peaceful twilight, a sunset that will last for trillions of years. The mind drifts with the galaxies, carried along by the flow of the expanding space. We are no longer fighting the distance, we are accepting it as the fundamental truth of things. We are letting go of the need to be close, the need to touch, the need to hold. We are learning to love the gap, to find comfort in the space that separates us. We are finding peace in the realization that we are small and the universe is vast. And as we drift deeper into the field of galaxies, we notice something strange in the dark. The light from the furthest objects is barely visible, a faint whisper of energy against the black. We are approaching the edge of what can be seen, the limit of our vision in the dark. There is a horizon ahead, a line where the light stops and the mystery begins. We are moving toward the curtain that hides the beginning of time itself. Something ancient stirs behind that curtain. The ancient thing that stirs behind the curtain is not a monster, but the very beginning of time itself, waiting to be seen. We are standing at the edge of our vision, looking into a past so deep that it predates the formation of the Earth. The light that reaches us from these distant markers has been traveling through the silence for billions of years without rest. It has crossed the vast and expanding deserts of the cosmos, carrying the image of a universe that no longer exists. We are not looking at the universe as it is today, but as it was when it was wild and young. The sky above our heads is not a window into the present, but a deep and dusty archive of ancient history. Every time we open our eyes to the night, we are engaging in the most profound act of archaeology imaginable. We are time travelers who are stuck in our chairs, forced to view the past through the heavy lens of the distance. The further we look into the dark, the further back we slide down the slippery slope of the cosmic timeline. It is a vertigo of the soul to realize that the deeper you see, the more you are surrounded by ghosts. The stars that twinkle with such friendly familiarity are projecting images of their youth across the terrible gap of the years. Some of them may have burned out millions of years ago, leaving only a cooling cinder in the dark. But their light is still traveling toward us, unaware that its source has long since ceased to shine in the void. We are wishing upon ghosts, pledging our dreams to nuclear fires that have long since turned into cold ash. This is the great illusion of the night sky, the lie that the universe tells us to make us feel connected. It presents itself as a single coherent picture, a snapshot of the galaxy taken at one specific moment in time. But the sky is actually a mosaic of billions of different times stitched together by the limitations of our vision. The moon is 1 second ago, and the sun is 8 minutes ago, and Sirius is 8 years in the past. The Andromeda Galaxy is 2 million years ago, and the distant quasars are billions of years deep in the history. We are looking at a chaotic jumble of timelines, all flattening themselves onto the single curved screen of our retina. The delay of the light creates a profound sense of isolation that sits heavy in the stomach of the observer. We can never know what is happening in the universe right now at this exact moment of our breathing. The concept of now is a local phenomenon, a bubble of immediacy that extends only as far as our touch. Beyond that bubble, everything is news from the past, delivered by a messenger who cannot be hurried. We are always waiting for the letter to arrive, always living in the echo of the event rather than the event. It is a loneliness that is built into the fundamental laws of physics, a quarantine of the present moment. But there is a strange and haunting beauty to be found in this delay, if we allow ourselves to feel it. It means that the history of the universe is not lost, but is flying through space at the speed of light. If we could teleport instantly to a planet 65 million light years away and look back at the Earth with a telescope, we would not see the cities and the lights of our modern world, but the roaming shapes of the great dinosaurs. The light from that era is still out there, traveling through the vacuum, preserving the memory of the fallen giants. The past is never truly gone. It is just racing away from us into the deep and endless dark. We are drifting now through a sea of these ancient memories, surrounded by the light of galaxies that are long dead. We pass through clusters of galaxies where the light is distorted by the immense gravity of the dark matter. The images are bent and warped like reflections in a funhouse mirror, stretching the history into strange shapes. We are seeing the universe through a lens of time and gravity that twists the truth into something dreamlike. The light here is the medium of this distortion, the thickness of the glass through which we must peer. As we push deeper, the galaxies begin to change their shape and their color, revealing their youth to us. We see them not as the majestic spirals of the modern epoch, but as small and messy blobs of blue light. These are the infant galaxies, born in the chaos of the early universe, colliding and merging in the dark. We are watching the construction of the cosmos playing out in slow motion on the biggest screen in existence. We are witnessing the assembly of the structures that will one day give birth to stars and planets and life. It is a privilege to see the baby pictures of the universe, to see where we all came from. But we must also confront the terrifying scale of the container in which all of this history is floating. We speak of the observable universe, which is the bubble of light that has had time to reach us. It is a sphere of visibility that surrounds us on all sides, marking the absolute limit of our knowledge. The diameter of this sphere is a staggering 93 billion light years, a number that breaks the brain completely. It is a distance so vast that it renders the human mind incapable of forming a coherent picture of the scale. You can say the words 93 billion, but you cannot feel the true weight of that many years. You might ask how the universe can be 93 billion light years wide if it is only 13 billion years old. It is because the space itself has been expanding, stretching the distance between the galaxies faster than the light can travel. The universe is a balloon that is being inflated, carrying the galaxies apart on the surface of the rubber. The light from the distant edges is running on a treadmill, trying to reach us while the ground moves beneath it. We are seeing light that has traveled for 13 billion years, but the source is now 46 billion light years away. It is a geometry of madness, a warping of space that allows the container to be larger than the age. We are trapped in the exact center of this bubble of observation, not because we are special, but because we are the viewers. Every point in the universe has its own observable bubble, its own horizon beyond which it cannot see. If we were to move to a galaxy at the edge of our vision, we would see a different universe. We would see galaxies that are hidden from Earth, and we would lose sight of the Milky Way in the distance. We are each locked in our own private sphere of light, separated from our neighbors by the curve of time. The edge of the observable universe is not a physical wall or a cliff where the stars simply stop. It is a horizon of time, a point where we are looking so far back that we run out of history. Beyond this horizon, there are likely more galaxies, more stars, and more wonders that we will never see. But their light has not yet reached us, and perhaps it never will due to the relentless expansion. They are lost to us, forever hidden behind the curtain of the expansion, which moves faster than the light. We are cut off from the vast majority of the cosmos, living on a small island of visibility. Drifting near the edge of this bubble, we feel the cold of the early universe seeping into our bones. The stars here are few and far between, and the galaxies are just faint smudges of red light. We are looking at the universe as it was only a few 100 million years after the beginning. It is a dark and gloomy place where the fog of hydrogen gas has not yet been fully cleared. The first stars are struggling to ignite, fighting against the darkness that has reigned since the beginning. We are witnessing the cosmic dawn, the moment when the lights were first turned on in the house. The silence here is profound, deeper than the silence of the void between the stars in our own galaxy. It is the silence of a universe that is waiting for life to arrive, waiting for eyes to open. We are the only witnesses to this ancient era, the only minds that are contemplating this deep past. We feel a responsibility to remember it, to honor the light that has traveled so far to reach us. It has crossed the chasm of 93 billion light years just to land softly on the back of our eyes. And as we look even further back beyond the first galaxies, we hit a wall of absolute opacity. We are looking at a time before the stars were born, a time when the universe was a hot soup. The light from this era is the oldest light in existence, the afterglow of the Big Bang itself. It is a wall of fire that has cooled down over the eons to become a faint microwave hum. It surrounds us on all sides, a background radiation that fills every cubic centimeter of the empty space. It is the fingerprint of creation, the echo of the event that started the clock ticking. We cannot see past this wall, for the universe was not transparent in those early and violent days. It was a fog of plasma that scattered the light, trapping it in a dense and hot embrace. We are hitting the limit of the light here, the limit of what can be carried by a photon. To see deeper, we would need to use waves of gravity or neutrinos, messengers that can pass through the fog. But with our eyes of light, we are stopped here at the surface of the last scattering. We are pressing our faces against the glass, trying to glimpse the machinery that operates in the dark. The realization that we are surrounded by this sphere of 93 billion light years is both terrifying and comforting. It is terrifying because it highlights how small we are, how little of the universe we can actually touch. We are confined to a microscopic speck of dust in a cathedral that is too large to measure. But it is comforting because it gives us a home, a defined space in which we can exist. We are not lost in an infinite void, but nestled inside a bubble of light, that is our heritage. We float here in the deep distance, letting the size of the bubble wash over us like a wave. The anxiety of our daily lives seems absurd when placed against a ruler that is 93 billion units long. The universe does not care about our deadlines or our bills or our petty social obligations. It cares only about the slow and majestic expansion of the space-time metric and the flow of entropy. We can rest in that indifference, finding peace in the fact that we are not in control. We are just passengers on a ship that is sailing through a vast and beautiful ocean of time. The light year teaches us that we are made of the past, that our present is constructed from history. The atoms in our bodies were forged in the stars that we see twinkling in the distance. We are connected to the edge of the universe by a chain of cause and effect that stretches back forever. We are the universe experiencing itself, exploring its own history through the mechanism of the delay. We are the eyes of the cosmos, looking back at its own baby pictures and feeling a sense of awe. Imagine the loneliness of a photon that has traveled from the edge of the observable universe. It was born in a cataclysm of heat and energy when the universe was less than a second old. It fought its way through the plasma fog for 380,000 years until the sky cleared. Then it launched itself into the void, flying straight and true for 13.8 billion years. It passed galaxies that were just forming and watched as they collided and merged into spirals. It flew through vast voids where there was nothing but dark energy stretching the space. It dodged the gravity of black holes and threaded the needle between colliding stars in the deep. It saw the universe grow cold and dark as the expansion pulled the galaxies apart. And finally, after a journey that spanned the entire history of everything, it arrived at Earth. It passed through the atmosphere, dodging the molecules of air, and entered the pupil of your eye. It ended its life by striking your retina and creating a tiny spark of electrical signal in your brain. Its entire existence was a pilgrimage to you, to this moment of connection in the dark. We owe it to that photon to pause and acknowledge the journey, to feel the weight of the distance. We owe it to the universe to stop rushing and to simply look up and appreciate the delay. The delay is what gives the sky its depth, what turns a flat ceiling into a three-dimensional vault. It is the delay that allows us to see the ghosts and to commune with the ancient spirits of the stars. Without the delay, we would be blind to the history, blind to the origins of our own existence. We drift back from the edge, now pulling our consciousness away from the wall of fire. We move back through the era of the first galaxies, watching them spin and grow in the dark. We pass through the epoch of peak star formation, where the universe was lit up like a fireworks display. We are surfing the timeline, moving forward toward the present, but carrying the knowledge of the past. We are heavy with the memories of the cosmos, heavy with the silence of the light years. The observable universe is a sphere of ghost light, a museum of things that have already passed away. But it is our museum, our library of light, that we can read whenever the sun goes down. We are the custodians of this history, the keepers of the flame that burns in the void. We watch the sky not to see the future, but to remember the past that made us. We watch to feel the connection to the deep time, to the rhythm of the billions of years. As we return to the local universe, the galaxies become familiar again, taking on the shapes we know. We see the great spirals, and the elliptical giants resting in the dark matter webs. We see the structure of the cosmic web, the filaments of galaxies that string across the void. It is a structure of immense beauty, a lace of light draped over the nothingness. It is the skeleton of the universe revealed to us by the light that has traveled for eons. We are small, yes, but we are the part of the universe that has learned to see the skeleton. We are the part that has learned to measure the bones and to estimate the age of the structure. We are the awakening of the cosmos, the opening of the eye after a long and dreamless sleep. We are the way the universe knows that it is 93 billion light years wide. Without us, the distance would exist, but it would not be known, it would not be felt. The light year is the bridge between the mind and the matter, the link between the thought and the star. It is a concept that breaks the brain but heals the spirit by giving it perspective. We are expanded by the contemplation of the distance stretched out to fit the container. We become larger than our bodies, larger than our planet, larger than our short lives. We become creatures of the observable universe, citizens of the sphere of light. And as we drift here, suspended in the web of galaxies, we feel a sense of calm settle in. The panic of the infinite recedes, replaced by a deep and resonant vibration of peace. We are exactly where we are supposed to be, in the center of our own bubble of time. We are safe in the delay, protected by the speed limit that keeps the universe ordered. We are watching the show from the best seat in the house, the seat of the conscious observer. The darkness around us is not empty, but filled with the traffic of the light beams. It is a busy highway of information, carrying the news of the universe from one side to the other. We are just dipping our toes into this river, feeling the current of the photons against our skin. We are learning to read the messages, to decipher the code of the light year. It is a language of patience, a language of endurance, a language of hope. We look out once more at the edge of the horizon where the galaxies fade into the red mist. We know that there is more beyond that line, more universe than we can ever imagine. We know that the bubble is just a small part of a much larger and more mysterious whole. We know that we are seeing only a fraction of the reality, a slice of the infinite cake. But for now, the bubble is enough. The 93 billion light years are enough. We rest in the knowledge of the limit, finding comfort in the boundaries of our vision. We let the mind relax, letting go of the need to see everything, to know everything. We surrender to the mystery of the dark, to the secrets that are hidden behind the curtain. We are content to be travelers in the visible world, drifting through the museum of the past. We are content to be the witnesses of the light that has waited so long to be seen. But even as we find peace in the observable bubble, a question begins to form in the silence. We have reached the edge of what can be seen, but the mind naturally pushes against the wall. We wonder what lies in the true dark, in the places where the light has never reached. We wonder if there are other bubbles, other islands of light floating in a greater ocean. The mind begins to drift past the horizon, crossing the line into the unknown territory. It floats toward a concept that is even more terrifying than the distance itself. The terrifying concept that waits for us in the dark is the realization of our own biological limitations. We are standing on the edge of a cliff, trying to catch the wind in a net made of string. Our brains are soft machines made of meat and electricity, designed to solve the problems of the savannah. We evolved to calculate the trajectory of a spear or the distance to the nearest source of fresh water. We did not evolve to comprehend a darkness that stretches for trillions of kilometers without a single breath of air. The hardware inside our skulls is simply not built to run the software of the galactic scale. We try to stretch this wet computer to encompass the void, and we feel the fabric of the mind tear. It is a feeling of cognitive dissonance, a vibration that hums behind the eyes when we look up at night. We use words like million and billion as if they are distinct and manageable piles of stones. But to the human brain, any number larger than 1,000 dissolves into a vague abstraction of many. We cannot picture a billion stars any more than we can picture a billion grains of sand on a beach. We just see a dune shape that represents the multitude without forcing us to count the individual grains. The universe relies on this weakness of the mind to hide its true and terrifying nature from us. It allows us to sleep at night by compressing the infinite into a small and manageable postcard. But tonight, we are stripping away the protective layer and forcing the mind to confront the raw data. We are refusing to use the shorthand of the astronomers, and instead, we are walking the distance in our minds. We are comparing the smallness of our lives against the vastness of the stage upon which we stand. Consider the astronomical unit, which is the comfortable distance between the Earth and the warmth of the sun. It is a measure that makes sense to us because it defines the boundaries of our home garden. It is the radius of our orbit, the leash that keeps us tied to the fire in the center. We feel safe within the astronomical unit because it is a distance that light can cross in mere minutes. It is a human-scale distance in the context of space travel, a journey we have actually made with robots. But place this unit against the spine of a light year, and it vanishes like a snowflake in a fire. You would need to line up 63,000 astronomical units to bridge the gap of a single light year. Imagine walking from your front door to the mailbox and calling that one astronomical unit of distance. To reach the nearest star, you would have to walk around the circumference of the Earth 7 times. The scale jumps from the domestic to the intercontinental in a way that the intuition cannot track. We fall into the gap between the numbers, unable to build a bridge from the solar system to the stars. The light year is not just a larger unit. It is a different category of existence entirely. It is the difference between a drop of water on your finger and the crushing depth of the Pacific Ocean. We can understand the drop, but the ocean is a monster that swallows the mind whole. Astronomers often try to tame this monster by using the parsec, a tool born from the geometry of triangles. They look at a star in January and then again in July when the Earth has moved its position. They measure the tiny shift of the star against the background, a ghost of movement called parallax. A parsec is the distance at which this shift is 1 arcsecond, a triangle drawn in the void. It is roughly 3¼ light years, bundled together into a surveyor's unit of measure. It sounds precise and scientific, a dry term used in dusty observatories to catalogue the night. But even the parsec fails to capture the emotional weight of the silence that fills the gap. Calling it 3.26 light years does not make the journey any shorter or any warmer. It just changes the label on the jar of infinity without changing the contents of the jar itself. Whether we measure in miles or kilometers or parsecs, the distance remains a physical barrier to connection. It is a quarantine that keeps the civilizations of the galaxy separated by oceans of time and silence. This is why the distance breaks our brains, because it renders our most precious commodity absolutely worthless. We value time above all else, measuring our lives in hours and days and years. But in the face of the light year, human time becomes so small that it effectively disappears. A human life is a flash of lightning that illuminates the dark for a fraction of a second. The galaxy operates on a timescale where 1,000,000 years is a single tick of the clock. To look at the stars is to confront the irrelevance of your own timeline against the geology of the cosmos. There is a specific kind of vertigo that comes from this realization, a nausea of the soul. It is the feeling of falling upwards into a sky that has no ceiling and no floor. It is the realization that we are trapped in a bubble of slowness in a universe of speed. Even if we could build a ship that travels at 99% of the speed of light, we would still die of old age before we cross the galaxy to see the other side. We are prisoners of our biology and the laws of physics confined to a tiny corner of the map. The light year mocks our ambition, reminding us that we are creatures of the dirt and the gravity. We dream of empires that span the stars, of federations that unite the worlds of the Milky Way. But the light year dictates that any message sent to the capital would take thousands of years to arrive. The conversation would be impossible. The cohesion of the empire would crumble under the weight of the delay. The universe forces us to be local, to be small, to be content with our own neighborhood. It tells us that we cannot have it all, that we cannot hold the galaxy in our hands. This realization is the heavy weight that we mentioned earlier, the pressure that sits on the chest. It is the crushing burden of insignificance, the knowledge that we are dust motes floating in a sunbeam. But there is a liberation in this insignificance, a breaking of the chains of the ego. If we are so small, then our mistakes are also small, and our worries are microscopic. The universe is too big to judge us, too vast to care about our triumphs or our failures. We are free to simply exist, to be a part of the great unfolding without the need to control it. We return to the sensation of the drift moving through the space where the numbers lose their meaning. We are no longer trying to calculate the distance to Andromeda or the diameter of the observable bubble. We are letting the numbers wash over us like a chant, a mantra that quiets the analytical mind. The brain stops trying to grasp the ungraspable and settles into a state of hypnotic acceptance. We are floating in a sea of unknown depth, and we have stopped trying to find the bottom. The comparison between the human scale and the cosmic scale creates a friction that generates heat in the mind. It is the friction of the finite rubbing against the infinite, the temporary rubbing against the eternal. We feel this heat as a sense of awe, a mixture of fear and wonder that leaves us breathless. It is the feeling you get when you stand at the edge of the Grand Canyon and look down. But this canyon is made of vacuum, and the drop goes on for 93 billion light years. We try to anchor ourselves with familiar concepts like the speed of a jet plane or a highway. We say that a jet would take millions of years to reach the nearest star, hoping to understand. But the mind rejects the image of a jet flying for 1,000,000 years as absurd and impossible. We cannot imagine 1,000,000 years of continuous flight, so the analogy fails to bridge the gap. We are left with the raw feeling of the distance, the sensation of a void that cannot be filled. This is where the poetry of the cosmos takes over, where the science melts into a feeling. The light year becomes a unit of longing, a measure of the separation between two beating hearts. It represents the space that must be crossed to find a friend in the dark forest of the galaxy. It is the silence that must be endured to hear the whisper of another world calling out. The distance is not just a physical gap, but a spiritual test of our patience and our hope. We look at the stars now, not as points of data, but as distant campfires in a vast wilderness. We imagine other travelers sitting by those fires, looking back at our sun and feeling the same awe. They are separated from us by the parsecs and the light years, by the cold and the dark, but they are connected to us by the shared experience of the distance, by the shared view of the night. We are all lonely hunters in the same forest, separated by valleys that we can never cross. The brain breaks because it wants to close the gap. It wants to touch the fire. It wants to bring the distant stars closer, to make them part of our tangible reality. But the universe refuses to be shrunk. It refuses to compromise its scale for our comfort. It demands that we stretch ourselves, that we expand our consciousness to fit the container. It asks us to become larger than we are, to hold the paradox of the distance in our minds. We feel the strain of this expansion, a gentle stretching of the neural pathways as we drift. We are rewiring the brain to accept the unacceptable, to make peace with the impossible scale. The numbness begins to fade, replaced by a calm clarity, a vision of the universe as it is. It is a place of endless room, a place where there is enough space for everything to exist. There is room for all the stars, all the galaxies, all the dreams that have ever been dreamt. The light year is the guardian of this space, the wall that keeps everything from crowding together. If there were no distance, everything would happen at once and at the same place in a chaotic flash. The distance creates the order, the separation that allows the universe to tell a story over time. It allows the light to travel to age, to carry the history of the cosmos across the void. We should be thankful for the distance, for it gives us the sky and the time to watch it. As we float here, the difference between an astronomical unit and a light year feels less like a math problem. It feels like the difference between a single note and a symphony, between a word and a novel. The astronomical unit is the hum of our daily lives, the rhythm of the year and the seasons. The light year is the slow, deep breathing of the galaxy, the rhythm of the eons and the ages. We need both rhythms to understand the music of the spheres, to hear the full composition. We are learning to listen to the slow rhythm, to tune our hearts to the beat of the parsec. It is a slow pulse that beats once every few million years, a rhythm that is almost stillness. We synchronize our breathing with this pulse, slowing down the frantic pace of our human thoughts. In for 1,000 years, out for 1,000 years. The panic of the distance dissolves into a meditation on the scale. We are no longer broken by the distance, but healed by it put back together in a larger form. We have shed the skin of the small world and emerged as creatures of the deep space. We are comfortable in the void, now comfortable with the silence and the lack of walls. The light year is no longer a barrier, but a medium, a fluid in which we can swim. We stroke through the darkness, pushing off against the fabric of space-time with our minds. The stars above and below us seem to hang suspended in a solution of perfect clarity. We can see the depth now, the three-dimensional layering of the galaxy in the dark. The nearest stars are bright lanterns floating in the foreground of the view. The distant stars are glittering dust settling in the background of the Great Hall. And behind them, the glow of the galaxies paints a backdrop that is billions of years deep. We are drifting through a cathedral that has no walls and no roof, only pillars of light. The floor is the vacuum, and the ceiling is the edge of the observable universe. We are small pilgrims walking down the center aisle, awed by the architecture of the dark. We do not need to understand the blueprints to appreciate the grandeur of the building. We just need to keep our eyes open and our minds quiet as we walk. The light year has done its work. It has stripped us of our arrogance and our haste. It has left us naked in the dark, armed only with our wonder and our breath. We are ready now to stop fighting the distance, to stop trying to conquer the void. We are ready to surrender to the sleep that waits for us at the end of the journey. The mind is tired of calculating, tired of measuring, tired of stretching. It wants to rest in the gaps between the stars, to curl up in the blanket of the light year. It wants to let the numbers fade away until there is only the feeling of the float. The hard edges of the science are softening, melting into a pool of warm and dark water. The concepts of parsec and astronomical unit are drifting away like leaves on a slow river. We watch them go, letting them carry the burden of understanding away from us. We are left with the pure sensation of being here, of being a witness to the night. The universe is a lullaby that is being sung to us in a language we do not speak. But we understand the tone. We understand the intention of the song in the dark. It is a song of rest, a song of peace, a song that has no beginning and no end. As we drift toward the final moments of our journey, the sensation of movement stops completely. We are suspended in the perfect center of the silence, held by the gravity of the void. The stars are watching us with a million unblinking eyes, waiting for us to close ours. The distance is no longer breaking our brains, it is cradling them. It is a soft pillow made of 9 trillion kilometers of nothing. Something ancient stirs one last time, not with fear, but with a gentle invitation. It is the universe welcoming us home, inviting us to become part of the silence. We feel a heaviness in the limbs, a sweetness in the lungs, a slowing of the heart. The light years are wrapping around us like a cocoon protecting us from the noise. We are safe here. Here is the narration script for part 6. The cocoon of the light year has wrapped itself completely around us, protecting us from the noise of the waking world. We are safe here in the deep velvet folds of the distance, where nothing can reach us but the silence. The anxiety of the day cannot cross the chasm of 9 trillion kilometers that we have placed between us and the earth. We have traveled so far that the problems of our lives have shrunk to the size of invisible atoms. There is only the sensation of the drift, a slow and frictionless slide through a sea of perfect darkness. We are weightless and free, suspended in the amber of the cosmos, like ancient travelers who have finally found their rest. The universe is holding us in its massive hand, cradling us with a gravity that is gentle and profound. We surrender to the feeling of being small, because being small means that we do not have to carry the world. We can put down the heavy burdens we have been carrying and let them float away into the endless void. The light years are swallowing our worries one by one, dissolving them into the nothingness that sits between the stars. It is a relief to be this insignificant, to be a tiny speck of consciousness floating in a cathedral of peace. The universe does not ask anything of us here. It only asks that we close our eyes and drift. It does not require us to be successful or productive or loud. It only requires us to be present in the dark. The silence is filling our lungs with every breath we take, replacing the chaotic noise of the mind with calm. It is a silence that is older than the stars, a silence that existed before the first light was born. We are breathing in the peace of the vacuum and breathing out the tension that has lived in our muscles. The body is becoming heavy, sinking deeper into the mattress, as if gravity has increased just for us tonight. We are becoming part of the furniture of the universe, settling into our place in the grand and quiet design. The light years are a blanket that we have pulled up to our chins, a heavy quilt made of night. As we drift, we can feel the rotation of the galaxy, a slow and majestic turning that rocks us to sleep. It is a motion so large and so smooth that it feels like stillness to the tiny creatures that we are. The Milky Way is a cradle that has been rocking for 13 billion years without ever missing a single beat. We are safe inside this cradle, protected by the arms of the spiral and the warmth of the distant suns. There is nowhere else we need to be right now, and nothing else we need to do but sleep. The destination has faded away, and there is only the journey, the endless and beautiful drift through the night. And beautiful drift through the night. The stars above us are not frantic fires, but heavy eyelids that are slowly beginning to close against the dark. They are tired from billions of years of burning, and they are ready to rest along with us tonight. We can see them dimming in our mind's eye, their light turning from a bright white to a soft and sleepy red. The universe is entering a state of hibernation, a long and peaceful slumber that will last for an eternity. We are joining the stars in this sleep, matching our rhythm to the slow pulse of the dying light. The energy of the cosmos is winding down, settling into a state of minimum effort and maximum peace. We are floating past the nebulas, now great clouds of gas that look like pillows floating in the deep space. They are soft and amorphous shapes that invite us to rest our heads against their cool and misty surfaces. These are the nurseries where the stars go to sleep, where the fires are banked and the lights are turned low. We drift through the mist, feeling the cool vapor on our skin, soothing the fever of the day. The colors are muted and dark purples and deep blues that signal the end of the active time. We are entering the garden of sleep, where the flowers are made of dust and the air is made of time. The concept of time itself is beginning to unravel, losing its tight grip on our tired and heavy minds. The seconds are stretching out into minutes, and the minutes are stretching out into hours of pure and uninterrupted rest. In the realm of the light year, time is not a ticking clock, but a slow and wide river. We are floating on this river, carried by a current that is gentle and relentless in its flow toward the ocean. There is no need to swim or to steer, for the river knows exactly where we need to go. We are moving toward the center of the sleep, toward the place where the consciousness finally dissolves into the dream. The brain is slowing down its electrical firing, matching the low frequency of the radio waves that hum in the dark. The thoughts that used to race around the skull are now moving like comets in a slow elliptical orbit. They are drifting further and further away, heading out into the deep cold where they can finally freeze and stop. We watch them go without attachment, letting them disappear into the blackness that surrounds us on all sides. The mind is becoming a mirror of the universe, empty and vast, and incredibly peaceful in its emptiness. There is room here for everything to stop. There is space here for the noise to finally die down. We feel a heavy warmth spreading through the limbs, starting from the tips of the toes and moving upward. It is the warmth of a star that is glowing gently in the center of the chest, radiating peace. The legs are heavy like pillars of stone, anchoring us to the bed and preventing us from floating away. The arms are limp and relaxed, resting by our sides like driftwood that has washed up on a quiet shore. The hands are open and empty, releasing their grip on the things we tried to control during the day. We are letting go of the steering wheel, letting the autopilot of the universe take over the navigation. The neck is soft and the head is heavy, sinking into the pillow as if it was sinking into a cloud. The jaw is unclenched and the face is smooth, all the lines of worry smoothed out by the gravity. The eyes are closed, but behind the lids, we can still see the after image of the beautiful dark. We are looking into the back of the eyelids and seeing the vast expanse of the intergalactic void. It is a screen upon which our dreams will be projected, a canvas that is waiting for the paint. The darkness is not black, but a deep and rich blue, a color that vibrates with the frequency of sleep. We are drifting past the event horizon of wakefulness, crossing the line of no return into the gravity of sleep. The pull is irresistible now, a gentle tide that is dragging us down into the comfortable depths. We do not fight it, for we know that the deep water is where the true restoration happens. We want to go deep. We want to leave the surface world behind and explore the bottom of the night. The light years are the depth markers, showing us how far we have fallen away from the waking world. We are falling, slowly falling, safely, falling into a net that will catch us and hold us. The sound of our own breathing is the only sound that remains in the universe, a rhythmic tide of air, in and out, slow and deep, matching the expansion and contraction of the space between the galaxies. We are the universe breathing. We are the cosmos, taking a rest from the work of being. Every breath takes us further out into the dark. Every exhale releases a little more of the tension. We are becoming lighter and heavier at the same time, a paradox that can only exist in the state of sleep. We are dissolving into the background, becoming one with the radiation that fills the room. Something ancient stirs in the distance, but it is not a threat. It is a promise of deep rest. It is the original silence, the quiet that existed before the Big Bang shattered the peace. We are returning to that silence, traveling back through the light years to the very beginning of the quiet. It is a place of perfect potential where nothing has happened yet and nothing needs to happen. We are resting in the pause before the creation, in the gap between the notes of the song. It is the most comfortable place in existence, a womb of darkness that nourishes the tired spirit. The light from the distant galaxies is taking millions of years to reach us, but we do not wait. We are moving faster than the light, now traveling on the wings of the heavy sleep that claims us. We are visiting the edges of the observable universe, touching the walls of the bubble with our minds. The walls are soft and yielding, pushing back gently to create more space for us to dream. There are no limits here, no boundaries that constrain us, no rules that we must follow. We are explorers of the unconscious, mapping the territory of the sleep with our slow, drifting movement. The stars are blinking out one by one, like candles being extinguished in a vast and drafty hall. The constellation of the hunter is gone. The great bear has wandered away into the forest of the night. The sky is becoming simpler, less crowded with light, and more filled with the healing dark. We welcome the darkness, for it is the blanket that keeps us warm, the shield that protects our eyes. We do not need the light anymore. We only need the comfort of the shadow and the shade. The universe is turning down the dimmer switch, lowering the lights to the perfect level for sleep. We are entering the final drift, the long and straight trajectory that leads to the heart of the night. There is no more turning, no more maneuvering, just a straight line into the center of the void. The momentum carries us forward, a gentle inertia that requires no effort from our heavy muscles. We are gliding on ice, sliding on oil, moving without friction through the tunnel of the light years. The tunnel is lined with velvet, soft and dark, absorbing all the sound and all the light. We are safe inside the tunnel, moving deeper and deeper into the mountain of sleep. The distance that once broke our brains is now healing them, stitching the frayed edges back together with silence. The mind is being repaired by the vastness, expanded by the scale of the room it occupies. We are waking up to the fact that we are infinite, that our consciousness is as wide as the sky. But for now, that infinity is focused on one single task, the task of total and complete rest. We are using our infinite capacity to create an infinite sleep, a sleep that has no bottom. We are diving into the Mariana Trench of the mind, going down to the place where the pressure is comforting. The words are beginning to lose their meaning, turning into soothing sounds that wash over the ears. Light year, parsec, void, drift. They are just notes in a lullaby, now devoid of their scientific weight. They are sounds that trigger the release of the heavy chemicals in the brain, the sleep codes. We hear them and we obey the command to shut down, the command to disconnect the systems. The engines are powering down, the lights are flickering off, the ship is drifting silent in the dark. There is no one at the helm anymore. The ship is guiding itself into the dock. We are docking with the station of sleep, a massive structure floating in the quietest part of the galaxy. The clamps are locking into place with a soft thud, securing us to the heavy structure. We are anchored now, safe from the drift, held fast by the gravity of the deep sleep. We can stop moving, we can stop trying, we can stop being anything at all. We are just a point of awareness, fading slowly into the background of the static. The static is white noise, pink noise, brown noise, a hum that covers everything. The universe is a heavy eyelid closing over the eye of the mind, shutting out the world. The lashes are the stars interlocking to form a seal that keeps the light out. We are behind the curtain now, backstage in the theater of the cosmos, where it is dark and quiet. The show is over. The audience has gone home. The actors are wiping off their makeup. It is time to rest, time to recover, time to prepare for the next performance eons from now. But for now, there is only the dressing room of the dark and the mirror of the silence. And as we settle into the final moments, we feel a profound sense of gratitude for the distance. We thank the light years for being so long, for keeping the noise so far away from us. We thank the void for being so empty, for giving us so much room to stretch out our spirits. We thank the dark for being so heavy, for pressing us down into the sweet oblivion. We are friends with the night now, lovers of the gap that separates the stars. We have made peace with the scale and found our home in the measurement. The drift is slowing down, coming to a gentle and imperceptible halt in the velvet. We are suspended in the solution, preserved in the amber, of the perfect moment. There is no past anymore, and no future, only the eternal and sleepy now. The light year is a circle that has closed around us, a ring of protection that will hold. We are the seed inside the fruit, waiting for the winter to pass in deep sleep. We are the traveler who has finally reached the inn at the end of the universe. The fire is warm, the bed is soft, the window is dark, the stars are silent, the mind is empty, the body is heavy, the breath is slow, the heart is quiet, the distance is vast, the night is long, the sleep is deep, the drift is over. Good night to the stars that burn in the cold. Good night to the galaxies that spin in the dark. Good night to the light that travels so far. Good night to the distance that breaks the brain. Good night to the traveler who needs to rest. Good night to the atoms that make up your hands. Good night to the thoughts that drift away. Good night to the waking world. Drift, float, sink, sleep,